welcome to another episode of Coffee Talks. Today we have a special guest from Barbados. His name is Cameron Burke. He's the Vice President of the Barbados Olympic Association, and he's also been the chef's de mission, which we will explain during the talk what it entails to be a chef's de mission for the Barbados Olympic Association for quite some time now, for major games since 2002, right, Cami? Since when you were chef's de mission?
Yes.
Yeah. So
I
welcome.
I started as chef de mission in 2002. But yes, I would like to, thank yourself and Greg, for affording me this opportunity to tell my story. Been in the sports administration for quite a while. Before I joined the Olympic Committee, I was involved in field hockey, and I was the secretary of the Barbados Hockey Federation for 14 consecutive years. That really was my grounding. All the basic things you learn at that stage. I was involved in managing the entire hockey scenario in Barbados. We had a Banks Hockey Festival, which was very big. We got teams from all over the world. I was involved in that. I managed that for quite a while. And then we had an international tournament for the Pan Am Hockey Federation here in Barbados. We had just put down our new artificial surface, and the government of Barbados afforded us the opportunity to host with the help of the Pan Am Hockey Federation, to host this tournament. And it was a lot of hard work. And my president, Will Allen, said to me, Cami, you're working too hard. The Barbados Olympic Association has a meeting. Let's go to the meeting. And I said to him, I said, but Will, we still have some work here to do. He said, no, you stop everything. Let's go to the meeting. So we up and we went to the meeting. And at that time, they took nominations from the floor to sit on the Olympic Committee.
This was in what year, Cami?
This was in 1996, right? In 1996. And Will, the president, Villalin is his name, he looked at me, looked over to me, and he said, I was sitting in the back. He looked over to me and he said, Cami, you want to take peace on the Olympic Committee? I said, no, Will, man, I'm not ready for that, man. I said, I had some work to do in the Hockey Federation. He said, well, let me tell you something. I am nominating you. That's where it started. I got onto the Olympic Committee from 1996 until now. I started as a director, spent some time learning the ropes. And because of the way I work, well, let me back up a little bit. I was professionally, I am a meteorologist, but I'm now retired. Once a meteorologist, always a meteorologist, still looking after the weather. And because of the way I work shift, I was able to spend most of my off time in the Olympic office, learning and working alongside of Erskine Simmons, especially Erskine, who at that time was managing the Olympic office. We had a staff of 3 people, and they were glad to have the company, and they taught me quite a few things. And soon after that, then I was involved in helping with the Olympic Solidarity programs. We didn't have a commission responsible for that at the time. And one of the office attendants, Natalie Small, she approached Mr. Steve Stout, who was the president, about forming a commission, and she nominated me to be chairing that commission. And so from 2004 until now, I've been looking after Olympic Solidarity programs for the Olympic Committee.
For those who are listeners who don't know about Solidarity Fund and the Solidarity Program from the IOC, could you please explain to our audience what's the Solidarity Program that supports the NOCs?
The Solidarity Program is the bedrock
I think we missed Cameron due to internet connection problems, but we'll get him back. it got cut off, Cameron. I think the internet connection went broken. But
Okay.
Let's go back to the question. It's about the IOC solidarity.
Right.
Let's start over. Apologies.
Right. The IOC, this Olympic solidarity, is the lifeblood of the IOC. Funds are channeled into the Olympic solidarity program from the Olympic Games, the benefits from the Olympic Games. So the more successful the games are, the more monies they have to share with the 202 national Olympic committees. And these funds are to assist the national Olympic committees with their elite programs to prepare athletes. It's merely athlete-centered to prepare athletes for international sport and the Olympic Games. There are 21 programs on the Olympic Solidarity Program. For us here in Barbados, we do 19 because, as you know, we are in the tropics, so we can't take part in the winter sports. So we don't benefit from that aspect of it. But we have benefited tremendously from the Olympic Solidarity Program. It allows us to train our coaches, work with our national federations to help them develop the sport, and also towards the Olympic Games, they offer scholarships to athletes to help them prepare for the games. Right now, we have five athletes who are on scholarship with the IOC, and they are given a monthly stipend. They can either do it locally or at an international performance center, and they benefit from that as well.
No, thank you. That was well detailed explanation. And yeah, as you said, this solidarity program, it's the engine as well, what keeps the Olympic movement going in a lot of countries. And one of them, and you explained it, like Barbados, it has helped a lot with to develop sport. Well, you as you said, you're a meteorologist by profession, and then you were in hockey, and then you transitioned to the BOA. What was some lessons that you learned from being a meteorologist, that you applied to the sports operations side? Is there any like skills that you learned there that are applicable in the sporting world?
Well, I think it's the other way around. The sporting world assisted me in understanding how I am to behave in the workplace.
Okay.
Right? Because when you're at work, it's a team, right? You're working with a team of colleagues, you know. In sport, especially in team sports, from which I can, you know, that allowed me to understand there is no I in team. We have to work together to achieve the same goal. So it's the other way around. Sport, also because of sport, it kept me fit, you know, and be able to concentrate at my job for longer periods, you know. So sport has and does play a big part in how we develop professionally.
Thank you. Well, love your answer and like how you turn it around, because yes, there's a lot to learn from sports. And you said that sport kept you also focused at work. What kind of sport did you do? Did you practice multiple sports or one in specific?
Well, you know, at a young age, you try all sports. Here in the Caribbean, cricket is our main sport. I tried my hand at cricket, wasn't successful there. And one day I saw the guys on the field while at secondary school playing hockey, and I said, well, I better try this sport. So at 10 years old, I started as a hockey player. And that too has allowed me to grow tremendously as a sports administrator. I was captain of the Barbados junior national team, but I didn't go much further than that. But then I transitioned into a field hockey umpire. And I had my first international games at the Central American and Caribbean level in 1982 in Cuba. And from there, I just kept going up the ladder. I retired as a grade 1 international umpire at the Commonwealth Games in Manchester in 2002. And then it took me in another direction. Hockey took me in another direction. I then became a technical official, and then I became a tournament director for the International Hockey Federation. So I retired then a couple of years ago as an elite international technical official. So sport has been my life.
Well, congratulations for all these achievements, and especially in hockey. So you're maybe familiar with, you know, our friend from Japan, Fumio Ogura, that he works he used to be involved in hockey. Are you familiar with him?
No,
Ogura.
I'm not familiar with him.
Yeah, well, he's also a hockey player, and he worked with the International Hockey Federation in Asia. I thought you were familiar with him, but let's keep moving. So you're saying you were at the Commonwealth Games and you've been in all the major games. Do you have like a favorite memory in any sporting event that it comes to mind right away, that you said it's a good memory or funny story? Let's do one a meaningful memory and one funny story. Let's do both.
The one that comes to mind, I have been present at all of Usain Bolt's winning and breaking records. I was present at every one. All the medals that he won at the Olympic Games, I was there to see it firsthand. You know, and it really was a tremendous experience, you know, a tremendous experience. Also, you know, even more far, I have seen a lot of his outstanding performances. You know, I've not only been to well, let me back up. I started as a chef de mission in 2000. I was the assistant chef for the Sydney Olympics, and those games were fantastic, and those games have stayed with me. You know, it's unfortunate, I shouldn't be doing it, but I try to judge every game to that level, you know, but I do understand that every games come with a different culture, and that's the culture of the country, you know, so you have to make the adjustment. But I will never forget my first outing at the Sydney Olympics. Then in 2000, I was thrown in at the deep end at the Central American and Caribbean Games, which is the lowest level of competition we have here in our Pan Am region. And that was a task. But fortunately, my experience at hockey and managing tournaments, you know, helped me along. It was a learning experience because you had to learn quickly. Nobody was there to hold your hand and say, well, do this and do that. So you had to learn quickly. But I would also say that from the beginning, I was surrounded with good tutors. Erskine Simmons, for one, you know, he was very instrumental in leading me up the ladder, and also Steve Stout. You know, they were very instrumental in assisting me in growing. And then after that, I've done 4 Commonwealth Games, 3 Olympics. You know, at the lower level, I would have been involved with the Pan Am Games for hockey. I usually kept the CAC and Pan Am Games to work with the Pan Am Hockey Federation because hockey is my sport, so I have to give back. Yeah. Right. But you know, the other major games, I was certainly a part. You asked me about a funny experience. You know, I remember in 2006, the Commonwealth Games. We were all the officials, we were there, the athletes were fit and all such, like, you know. And one of the coaches, the weightlifting coach, we were watching cricket one night in the chef's office, and one of the weightlifting coach said, "What are y'all doing tomorrow morning? All the athletes are fit, but look at y'all don't look fit. Let's go in the gym tomorrow morning." We went into the gym, 6 o'clock in the morning, everybody up, all the officials up to the gym. And we had a problem. So after the gym, I had to go back to the office to meet with someone to solve the problem. So after that, I went to the cafeteria for breakfast. And when I got there, I saw all the officials looking at me with a smile, you know, and I could not understand why they were doing it. So the weightlifting coach came to me and he said, "Mr. Burke, you're ready for breakfast?" I said, "Yes, sir, let's go." So he took me to the serving area and he asked, "Do you eat tomatoes?" "Yes." And he told the lady, "1 tomato, 1 hot dog, 1 egg. Thank you, Mr. Burke. That's your breakfast for the morning." And I look at him, I said, "Look, this is all," you know. And, you know, everybody laughed, but it was hard for me to adjust, to make that adjustment. He said, "No, if you're here, you have to eat healthy and you have to be fit." And it took me a little while, you know, for the body to adjust to that regimen, you know. But at the end of the day, you know, at the end of our time it was in Melbourne, you know, we saw the results. And even coming back home, then, you know, you started to pay more attention to eating properly and being healthy and all.
Another lesson from sport there.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
No, eating habits are huge. And well, yeah. And how was the workout that morning? Did you skip it because you came back to meet with someone, or what did they make you eat like that?
No. We went through the workout and we did it every morning until the close of the games.
Good.
And that was good, you know. And then there are other things, you know, for me, volunteers are very important at games. Very, very important. And, you know, I find that once you treat your volunteers well, they make the games for you exceptionally good, you know, very, very good, you know. And everybody that goes with me, we try to ensure that our volunteers are part of our unit, you know. They're not, because they're and we are here, you know, they are part of our unit. We treat them like how we treat ourselves. And for me, the best group of volunteers, they were all exceptional. I must say they were all exceptional. But the best group of volunteers I have encountered in my long experience of games were the ones at the Commonwealth Games in Scotland, in Glasgow. They were an exceptional bunch of people. They had experience and youth. And it was like a household, you know. They looked after all the athletes. If they wanted whatever, they went and got it. I remember we were preparing for the opening ceremony. And, you know, in Scotland, Barbados was unique. We wore kilts, right? Some of our people wore kilts.
Funny you say that. Funny you say, because I'm based in Edinburgh. So I understand what you mean by the Scottish people. They're great people. So yeah, continue your kilt story.
Yeah, they were very good. And then we had trousers that wanted pulling up, hemming and all sorts. And my volunteers just start a sewing machine session in the office, you know. They were exceptional. And they had it well worked out. But, you know, you must, for any team, I will say, you must make sure that your volunteers are part of your unit. They make the tournament good for you, you know, and no letting up. You just, you know, make sure that you treat them well.
Yeah, they're the biggest workforce in games. I mean, there's loads of volunteers, and yeah, you're right. I mean, I had a good volunteer experience. I've been to a couple of games, one in Rio, one in Pyeongchang, and the volunteers in both games were great. But I did have the same sense as you had, that the volunteers are key to operate a good games. And in Pyeongchang, I saw that, and in Rio as well. And well, yeah, and I guess in Glasgow were the best in your experience, because I do think Scottish people are really nice and they're really attentive and they really care for each other.
Yeah,
and they're funny as well. They know how to give the touch of a sense of humor as well.
Yes, 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 yes.
And if you have some photos from that time where all of you were killed, maybe we can use that to promote this conversation, and we can put Cameron Burke with the kilt in the.
No, I didn't wear the kilt, but we have some pictures with the Barbados team in kilt. I certainly did not wear the kilt. But you know, the other aspect, my only disappointment for all the games, you know, we all want to see and to be part of the activity in the stadium, right? And I find that, and I try my best to include my volunteers, you know, if I'm going to, let's say, track and field. You know, I remember in India was playing Pakistan in hockey, and I was going, and you know, the Indian volunteer says, "Mr. Burke, can we go to hockey with you?" And I said, "Okay, I'll try and see what I can do." And I took them along, and I explained to the officials there, "Look, these are my volunteers. They want to see the hockey. They will not get in the way. I've already spoken to them. They'll stand behind, you know, but just let them come in." They said, "Okay, we take your word for it. But if they step out the line, we're coming for you," meaning me. I said, "Okay, that's all." But, you know, we have to find ways and means to assist in trying to make them feel a part and experience the whole experience of the games, you know. And I usually try to do that to make them, you know, feel a part of the games.
No, that's good.
Outside of that, you know, we, as a chef de mission, the chef de mission work doesn't start when you arrive at the venue. The work starts even before my board appoints me as chef. And even if there's someone else, I still go in the office and help the office to get things in place. We have an outstanding young lady in Gail Craig Archer. She usually goes to games with me, but she understands what it means to do the preparatory work to make things as smooth as possible, you know. And she and I, we work along together. She's very thorough, very efficient. We build relationships with our NOC relations person. We identify who are our target persons, who we have to interact with. You know, and this is important because once you've built that relationship, you know, things come easy.
Things move forward. Yeah.
There's so many things to be done. If you miss a deadline, they will call you. This is not that you just missed the deadline. So, you know, you need that relationship, to build that relationship with the people who you have to interact with. Sometimes, well, you may not know, but the chef would go to the DRM meetings by himself, so that, you know, do all the preparation so that the athletes would then be able to come in. But I don't go by myself. I am there by myself physically, but on my phone,
you have all the support. Yeah,
you know, Gail is on the line, and we are at the DRM together. So when she arrives, everybody knows, oh, I want to meet Gail, you know, because of the relationship that we have built. And, you know, I would encourage all those listening and aspiring to be chefs, you know, to understand, to take the time to learn, you know, and to understand that we are there to service the athletes, not the other way around. We are there to do a job for the athletes, create an environment that they can perform, you know, make sure that they're well rested, you know, everything is in place.
Always athletes first, always. Yeah. And that's a good perspective. And I mean, for those who are not familiar with chef's the mission position, it's the head of the delegation. And Cami, can you explain to those in the audience who are not familiar with what it entails to be a chef's de mission? What's their role of being head of delegation, chef's de mission in an Olympic Games or Commonwealth Games or Caribbean?
Well, as you said, the chef de mission is the head of the delegation, the country's delegation. even although your president and secretary general is there, you are still the head. You are the responsible person. You as the chef, you are the responsible person, right? And you have to make sure that your president and secretary general is well taken care of along with the athletes, right? I have found that whether I have a small team or a large team, my workload is the same. I might spend, if I have a small team, I might spend less hours in the office, right? But the workload is the same because I still have to make sure that people attend their technical meetings on time. You know, transportation is well organized. Yes, I am the administrator. Every team has its manager, but the manager is there to look after the technical aspects of the sport, which I don't have the expertise in, right? So I would advise that we step back. We as the administrator, we step back and allow the managers of the teams to look after their area. If they have problems and they need to be escalated, but then, you know, as the chef, then we get involved and we have a conversation and we come up with a solution how to solve that problem. You know, I have found that as chef, one-on-one, during the games, one-on-one meetings serve you better than, yes, we have our chefs meetings, but most of the time, your problems are not
they're specific, no, they're not general as
specific,
when
correct. They're
yeah.
specific. That's the word I was looking for. They're specific, yeah. They're not general. But so then when you raise the issue in the chef's meeting, yes, you might get opinions from other persons that you can use, right? But still you have to get the official permission from the organizing committee to deal with your specific issues, you know, and be nice about it, you know, be nice about it, because I understand that the work, everybody, every country wants what is best for their athletes, and the workers will be bombarded, right? And they will get frustrated. Like I would get frustrated if something keeps going. They will get frustrated, and we should not ill-treat them. But we work with them to achieve a common goal, right? And you know, these are some of the things that I have learned from Erskine. You know, don't rush it, Cam. You don't rush it. Just take it easy. Just take it, you know. And you know, sometimes a soft word, you know, goes a long way. You know, so and I've encountered in my experience, throughout my experience, where some people are very aggressive towards the workers, and you know, sometimes it's hard to understand why, you know. When you put yourself in their position, you know, they're trying to make us happy. You know, we shouldn't be making them unhappy.
No, and it's as you said, you're there to service, you know, and it's to service the athletes, and of course to service the delegation, the president, the SecGen. But the experience of being there, I mean, it's yeah. I had the fortune of being in a chef's admission seminar last year, and I saw there's a lot of work to do for a chef, and at the end you need to balance it out. Okay, it's at the end it's a pleasure to be at this stage of the Olympic Games, and you're there in the village, you're there interacting with all these people from all over the world, and you had this unique experience that's, I mean, a lot of people would pay a lot to be in that position of being chef. I mean, there's a lot of work, but you got this also side of being chef that you need to enjoy it, no? Like it's also a lot of work, but you enjoy the process, no? And enjoy
I thoroughly enjoy the attending games. Not only games under the auspices of the Barbados Olympic Association, but I will usually go to World Championships, you know, and just to see the organization and to enjoy the games, you know. The games, to me, the village life is what makes the games. Because here it is. I remember in 2000 when I went into Sydney, I went to the cafeteria for lunch one afternoon, and I just stood at the door because a couple of the top tennis players in the world passed me. And I heard one player remark, this is a phenomenal experience. Normally, we will just be with our tennis players. But here it is, I am with all the names, the top names that I have heard in the world. And I stopped and I thought about what he said. And I said to myself, I said, Cameron Burke, you realize where you are? You are now with all the top players in the world. You can talk to them, you can ask questions and all. So it's like, and I always try to encourage visitors from Barbados to come to the village, have a little experience of what it is like in the village, how you see on the sport, yes, on the field, we are competitive. But when we get into the village, there's no more competition. Everybody's everybody's friend,
Yeah.
And that is what the experience that I do enjoy from going to games.
And it's all sports brings all these people together from all over the world. And you said people like top athletes, you said like ATP tour players, tennis that you see in Roland and in Wimbledon, you see in the village there, and living in the same space for this month of this major sporting event. It's a unique experience, and for those people that cannot make it to the village, it's also really impressive and like it really hits you when you were in a games at an opening ceremony as well, or at the atmosphere. That's really really impactful experience. That's the word I was looking for.
Correct.
No,
that's correct. At the opening ceremony, it is a pleasure to walk on and just greet the crowd, and the atmosphere is tremendous. And then when we gather on the pitch, the exchanging of medals and pins and all. So it's like it is an experience that I would encourage anybody that gets the opportunity to take. It's a tremendous experience.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, Tokyo, it's been a challenge with all the current world situation with the pandemic, but I'm sure the Japanese are gonna do a great job and the games are gonna be great, and sport is gonna come back to unite the world and say, okay, we made it after the pandemic. No, and I think hopefully the Tokyo Games would be that event that communicates to the world. We got through this, and I mean, right now, of course, there's gonna be a lot of regulations, and of course, your work is gonna get tougher now with all the planning of the new regulations that athletes need to be only 5 days before their competition and leave 2 days after the competition that they just announced. So more job for you there, Cameron, and I'm sure you'll get through that, and you're used to that. And but that's gonna be interesting, no? With all the regulations, how these games are gonna unfold.
Yes, I agree. Tokyo is going to be a challenge. We have to make the adjustment. We have to understand what is going on in the world. We have to respect the protocols that are put in place. I understand why. I know lots of people are asking, why are they still having the games? But the cost of not having the games is tremendous. I think I was reading quite recently, the Japanese were saying to not have the games would cost them about 290, quite a huge sum of money, and so clearly, if we want to have the games, we have to make sure that we protect ourselves, we follow the protocols, and we cooperate with the Japanese people.
Yeah, because they've done a great effort to keep the games going. I mean, only the Japanese, they're hard workers. I mean, even with all against all odds, they kept going, and even with all the cost associated with the games, 2.8 billion or something, right. They announced a couple of days ago, last week, and they're gonna be a great games. And it's just admirable for the Japanese what they're doing. And
I think so too.
no?
I think one of the major challenges, though, will be the Games Village. When we were there for the chefs meeting, I think the configuration of the village will obviously have to change. Yes, there is a vaccine around, but I still think that the configuration of the village would probably have to change to allow for more social distancing and all such like, But I am sure that the IOC and the Japanese organizing committee will work it out. One thing I've learned from going to games, when you go to the chefs meeting, and I remember my first games in El Salvador, when I went to the chefs meeting, I was driven along a road that was all bush, a lot of potholes, The infrastructure was poor. And I said to my assistant at the time, are you sure these games are going to come off? He says, Cameron, don't worry about it. We have lots of people, I said, okay. When I went back to the games, he took me down the same road. He says, Cameron, you remember this road? I said, no, there's a different road you're taking me. You're taking me a different way. He says, no, this is the same road we went on. It was finished, paved, lights up, trees planted, everything in place. So I have learned from them. Once a country is awarded the games, they will do everything
to make it happen.
so
Yeah,
they're ready at games time. So I don't worry anymore about if this could happen or if this should not. I expect that when I get there, yes, there will be one or two little challenges to iron out, but I expect when I get there, everything will be in place.
Especially Japan.
Legacy for those games.
And I mean, it's of course a unique circumstances with the whole situation. Japan has a big challenge to get the games going, and they will. But as you said, I'm not. As you said, the games are gonna happen, and I'm not questioning nobody should question that the Japanese would make the games great. And
that's great.
Of course, a lot of challenges, and we'll see some of our audience there in Tokyo. Hopefully more people can get there with all the restrictions and regulations. Because Jimena last week, she was saying also that, the games are gonna come hopefully at the right timing to communicate to the world, look what sport does. We bring the people together, and also we show how resilient the world was and how we got through this. And
that's great.
A lot of lessons to learn from sport, and you put it really well, Cameron, from the beginning. Since you turned the question, what do you learn from meteorology to sport? You said it's the other way around. I learned a lot to sport that I applied from meteorology, and you're a meteorologist by profession, so a lot to learn from sport. And Cami, thank you for your time to share your story, and thank you for the audience who tuned in. Gracias a todos, for those Spanish speakers. Gracias por estar en esta plática. And Cameron, again, we appreciate your time. We love hearing you, and hopefully we'll see you in Tokyo, and we'll be in touch.
Thanks, Rory. It has been a pleasure. I really enjoyed talking with you this morning on coffee talk, although I had no coffee.
It's okay. Thank you. You have Barbados rum there, but so it's
sure. I'll make sure and travel with some for you.